said what I am. I don't know the man. Somebody stole my soul. They left and took my home.
You guys are in a band, aren't you?
Yes.
What's your band called?
I forgot them.
It's your progress, it's your band, mate.
Yeah, Planet for
Beatles.
Sale, and it's
yeah.
my provocative.
It's your little baby, isn't it?
It is my baby.
Planet for Sale.
Planet for Sale.
Where did that name come from?
The original concept of all the songs were that we built this musical universe as a group, not just me by myself, but with all of us involved. And we figured if we're going to base it around anything, it would be about what's happening now and what's been happening in regards to what a fragile world we're living in, and how everything, including people and their morality even, is up for sale. So everything in this world that you're living in is for sale, and that's what the songs reflect on. They tell a story, but what they reflect on is elements of vulnerability and human sacrifice, and people selling out other people, and the misconception of love and what love is in the modern world and what love really is, and all of that. And we all have the same problems, doubt, money, loneliness. I've never met anybody who didn't suffer from loneliness. So bringing those things, using real people's stories and crafting them as songs, that is something that people relate to. People respond to them really, really well. And the way that Louis, Theo and Jamie, these guys they do their part and they bring their own thing to the music. They're as equally responsible for the sound and for everything else, and I couldn't do it without them at all. At all.
It's joint effort.
Definitely.
And it shows in music, and it's been great to be here in this environment and watch you all mold together.
Melt into each other's
Mold.
Together. It's been great.
It's good to have you.
Well, thanks, man. Right. How long have you been musicians for?
I mean, probably when I was 8 or 9, I think.
Yeah.
But I learned a few chords and that was it. I didn't really care about it.
Was that yourself though? Was it, or had somebody else?
Yeah, no, my mum and dad sort of showed me a few chords, but I really only started playing properly 5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that. But so I mean, I've been playing for a lot longer, but only properly,
off and on.
just a couple of chords, but I didn't really care.
It's great that your parents showed you coming from a musical background.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Very encouraging. Louis?
I wish I could. I can ace you with my history.
Go on, man.
But you're better.
I started 60 years ago. It was 1934.
Back in my day.
Hitler was at my house and we taught me the piano.
You must sit down and play.
You're playing my anthem.
No. This has turned into a John Cleese sketch now. I don't know. For me, I don't know. It's I started. I think the first time I remember it, I was quite young. I think it was about 6, 7, so I was a bit older than yourself. So, and I always remember my granddad made me a guitar. He's a great woodwork and metalwork, and just being all in the shed, just making stuff all the time. So, and he made this light seal blue guitar. And it had no fucking strings on it except for a couple. And my dad was well into his music. He'd listen to fucking anything. It was anything he'd be listening to. You could hear the music going on all the time downstairs, even up in the attic.
Wow.
And this guitar, you could hear him playing Deep Purple and stuff. And that was the first song I knowingly could play. And I worked out on the guitar. Yeah, Smoke on the Water. Water straight away. And even at a young age, I was just didn't need to hear it in the background. It was already ingrained into my head,
Yeah.
and I was like, right, okay, and you mess about. And I remember solidly playing that too. My biggest regret is like after years and years of playing and doing different bits and pieces, that I never persisted to the same level as yourself. I couldn't. I should have had lessons or something along those lines in order to progress. But school was all about drums. I used to play keyboard and stuff like that. A lot of it, and I don't know, when you put things down and you don't pick them back up again, it's lost.
Yeah.
You can get it back, but it takes a while to actually do that. So I don't know. I think it was mainly when I was in college. That was the time that I really picked up the guitar. My mum had this 12-string, which I've still got and needs a lot of repair. And as you know, I told you earlier, I fix guitars.
Well, why
and
don't you
stuff.
do it then?
Well, it's the
Nobody
builder
knows, sorry.
situation, man. My
Yeah.
dad was a roofer, and I'm sure there's a lot of craftsmen out there, that, whether they're builders or tradesmen or whatever, they get on with everybody else's jobs first instead of their own.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
fair
so
point.
I have
Yeah.
that sort of situation going on, but it will get done, and it's those sort of instruments that have allowed me to kind of fix other bits and pieces in the past.
Yeah.
Just by experimenting on those, because you don't mess about with anybody else's until you've done it on your own,
Yeah,
for sure,
true.
or buy some piece of crap and do it that way. But yeah, music-wise, been in covers bands, been in a really good band in the past, and yeah, and then I found out that when I got back in touch with my dad recently, that his dad was a famous musician in and around London and places in the Midlands.
Really?
Used to do some session work. John Bonham played his drum kit at one stage.
That's
as well.
amazing.
Awesome.
Wow.
So he used to basically, you turn up for a session at like wherever the theatre or whatever
Yeah, yeah.
it is, and you go there, audition, and then you'd be chose to play with play for that band, whether it was like, I don't know, if it was James Brown or anything like that was playing in the UK at the time that didn't bring a band with them. I don't know, say for example,
Yeah, like
any
session
sort of modern
musicians
artist,
who
that,
are-
or
yeah.
it could be somebody like freaking Glenn Campbell or something.
Yeah.
He doesn't bring a band round with him. He gets everybody else to
I know.
play music for them, don't they? So you
Didn't
get
know
loads
that.
of session musicians
Wow.
and stuff. But I mean, it's not those individual people that I named, but in particular. But that's what he used to do. But I mean,
Nice.
I need to talk to my dad more about it, and I'm sure at some stage I'll end up meeting him up in Essex at some stage and get a bit better understanding. But yeah, I think the last thing my dad told me was something stupid. Oh, I can't remember what's his name. What's that guitarist that used to freaking stand upright and play like this and just be all jaggedy and all over the fucking place?
Oh, was this the guy who had cancer a while ago?
Yeah.
The punk guy. And then
Punk
there was a
guy,
who's-
bold, thin,
documentary
always
about
plays a
him.
black Telecaster with a red
Yeah.
scratch plate. Yeah.
What is
What's
his
his name? Wing. What's it? Wilco.
Wilco, yeah.
Oh, come
Wilco
on.
Jones or
I
something.
think I
is
know
it?
who you mean.
Wilco
as
Johnson.
well.
Johnson,
Yeah.
is it?
Was
Wilco
it?
Johnson?
Yeah.
I can't remember, but yeah, I think it was.
Yeah.
My granddad, I think it was one of his daughters or something like that, is married to his son or something stupid. So
Yeah.
there's another connection there, but
So it's in
I
the
just
blood.
hear these things, but never really kind of get in the depths of it. So that's probably a part of my past that I need to kind of recapture that I've never been and stepped into. So yeah,
Well-
that would be the next musical junction of my life, actually finding out what the hell went on that side.
Jamie, how long have you been playing?
Well, I won't be able to
drums?
top that.
I mean,
This
like
is
I
not
said,
competition.
there's details that I need to fucking really look into,
My
man.
early love for proper rock bands was sort of like Blondie and the Kinks especially, because I was
Yeah.
given like a greatest hits album, and I don't remember it personally, but I remember my parents sort of like realised that I had a good taste for getting the beat early doors when I was
Okay.
about 2 or 3. Like, well, I would go to the nearest curtain when I was listening to the Kinks, and I would just literally bounce up and down with my knees and everything. I can't do it here, but you know, it was sort of like, it was quite funny. I can't remember myself. It doesn't matter. But it was early remembrance of the fact that I got into music.
You need to speak to a counsellor.
I think I need to speak to my mum. But my early, well, actually, the instrument I first played was keyboard.
Yeah.
I got into a little bit of it, but I guess patience has never been my thing in terms of like learning new stuff. I've got to be honest. So as much as I persevere with the keyboard and I could do certain, I learned basic things like I know where C is and stuff like that. I know what to cause a certain pitch. It's like, it was something I could never grasp in the long term, if you know what I mean. Like any sort of, like something from Potocini or something, I don't know. I couldn't necessarily grasp. But
But you've evolved as a drummer.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I've evolved into the drumming part late on after school. I sort of like go, you know, I might as well just give drumming a go, see what happens. Because every time, even before I started practicing the drums, I always used to sort of like, you know, pat with my hands on like some knees or on tables or chairs or whatever, or my head or whatever.
That explains a lot.
Explains a lot. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe hit too hard.
Oh no, what am I doing? So yeah, I've always been involved in that, and the methods that I've been doing and the way I've been teaching, it's a mixture of teaching myself and a great teacher called Ivan Pledge, who is my next door neighbour.
Convenient.
Very convenient. But when he started teaching me sort of like further into, I got the basics, like, you know, that kind of thing. But he taught me like all sorts of different fantastic rhythms and patterns and stuff. And I got into all sorts of different drummers. Like I got into I'm trying to remember the guy who covered for Simon Garfunkel many times.
Oh, the Blondie's drummers.
No, I know, Clem Burke's with Blondie, but another
Yeah.
drummer I particularly like.
Steve Gadd.
That's the one. Thank you, Steve Gadd. Yeah, I got inspired by him with Late in the Evening and 50 Ways to practice those, especially Late in the Evening. That's such a cool pattern. I really got into that. And yeah, I just sort of evolved from learning my own techniques after that, and obviously I credit Ivan for getting me on the stepping stone, but really it's like kind of my own brains of what are it's my own self-taughtness, if that's a word.
It is now.
It is now.
It's there. Don't worry. We've all said things with regret. Don't worry.
It's in the dictionary. You better believe it. I kind of self-taught myself after that to what I feel comfortable with and how I played, in the way I'm being comfortable, and in terms of. In terms of how I play, what I play on the drums.
What you said during the Instagram thing a few weeks back.
Oh yeah, not a proper musician.
Like, I love the bongo tune, like the jungle rhythm. It's brilliant.
So how old were you when you started the drums?
I say probably when I was about 16, 17, something like that.
Nice.
Just when I come out of school, I was just like, I need to find some sort of. It literally was a hobby, and then Booze discovered me, and it's been brilliant ever since then.
Yeah, discovered him out of a just
out of a what?
Just a magazine. It was a magazine ad.
Pulled him out of a magazine.
It was actually.
Bored, hilarious drummers available.
Yeah.
It was just a little hobby of mine. I just thought, you know what, let's see what comes out of it. I've put myself in a magazine, and then Booze read it, and one thing led to another.
Yeah.
Was it the Sun page 3? They don't have naked women on that page anymore.
Different times now, different times.
Ruse?
Yeah.
Ooh, well, growing up in Iran, which is a very different environment, both culturally and politically.
Yeah.
It's it's for me. I was going to a private school because in the district that we were living in, private schools were they had like the best education. They were the most safe schools in terms of. And my dad he still does, he owns a music institution in Tehran.
Oh, wow.
And I learned violin there. When I was about 10, we moved over. Sorry. It's all right. I did make it sound a bit like it was, it wasn't, but when we moved over here, I was about 10 years old, and I was completely off violin.
Yeah.
Because it's the music discipline is totally different, and I was amazed by how sort of other school kids are just so free to kind of pick and choose what they want. Not that I was forced into violin playing, but I don't know. To me, I always preferred the sort of the European style, and I was really,
Yeah.
you know, it was, especially rock music, something
Yeah.
that, you know, you would see like a little bit of like, I don't know, on MTV, like Guns N' Roses or Oasis, or just someone be like, whoa, what is that?
Yeah.
So I really wanted to move into guitar, and I picked up the guitar, and it was I don't even know what that is.
Sorry, carry on.
Hedge
Sorry.
trimmer.
Hedge trimmer. Yeah, good luck putting that back up.
I got it.
Oh yeah, you got it.
Yeah.
And I forgot where I was.
So you started on violin. You weren't happy about when you came down to this country. You
Yeah,
realised
yeah.
that it
I was
very
just
rigid
exposed.
teaching.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was. I was exposed to everything, and I was, you know, my mind was barely open
Yeah.
to sort of like how life takes place here, how
Yeah.
people approach music, and, you know, what does it mean to be a musician.
Yeah.
And over the years, I just kept listening to rock battles. I was like this, you know, little Iranian guy that really loved Led Zeppelin amongst
Yeah.
Iranians that no one could relate to. So, for example, we would go somewhere and somebody would bring out
A fucking bazooka.
a bazooka. No.
Swing yourself lucky I didn't turn the fucker on, mate. When I took your hat off. I want one of these.
I think you can have that one.
No.
Can you stick like tennis balls in that and go?
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
And then eventually it came to college, and I was able to sort of meet other musicians and sort of break in that scene a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
So would you
yeah.
say yourself been playing guitar since college?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
every time during gatherings, or like, for example, if there was like an Iranian society-based gathering or whatever, I would like sneak off into the theatre bit or whatever it was, if there was a guitar there, or I would bunk school and come to GAC, and I would skip like my last lesson, which was like world language or whatever, and then
Special guest. Special guest.
Like one of the annoying sound guys at Coronation Street that just fucking puts in the mic.
it's supposed to be up there. It's supposed to be up there.
Out there and hitting people on the head.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll stop now, so there's nothing more for me to grab.
Yeah.
Try the jacket.
Louis, do you need some more wine?
No.
Nah.
No.
And then I would like sneak off like to play these guitars, and then eventually I was able to buy a guitar
Yeah.
and carry on. But yeah, I played like any guitar I could find, like in school or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of fun. And I would like hum the songs that you hear now. I would hum them, and then years later I would actually know how to write a song and sort of, you know, look into it. But yeah, it took a long time for me to fit in, because I couldn't relate to anyone British. I couldn't relate to anyone with a different ethnicity.
Yeah.
You know, you're coming from schools and area and sort of and societies that tell you, you know, Britain is the devil. You know, like America deserves to die. Like Israel needs
Right.
to be plunged to death. Like, and coming from that background.
Do we need to be worried?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But like, I'm saying that it took a while for me, like, you know, like it was, you know, normal for these guys, but yeah, very different for me. So
The transition was tough,
yeah,
but
yeah.
eye-opening.
Yeah, and also it gave me that kind of rebellious attitude to sort of, you know, lean towards rock and roll, and, you know, rock and roll music, and
Yeah.
be able to sort of like rebel a little bit against what we call like a mainstream culture, and just act more like as an individual.
Rage Against the Machine.
Love that band.
Yeah.
Deserve their Christmas number one.
Fuck yeah! I can't. I'm so
Oh,
glad
yeah.
I missed that Finsbury Park show.
Oh.
Did any of you guys go to it? I don't feel so bad then.
I did see them at Download Festival though. That was good.
I'm fucking pissed about this Corona stuff, because I've never seen Rage, and like, of all the bands that I could ever see in my life, I pretty much ticked them all. But you know, obviously the ones that aren't together or alive, blah blah blah. But I bought my ticket for Reading this year
Yeah.
because of Rage. and you know all this shit going on, and it's like chances are that they would even do that again when everything settles down. It's so unlikely, and it's like that thing that was going to happen might never happen again. It's just
I
fucking
don't know.
rotten.
I think there's a chance. I mean, what's his face? The guitarist from Rage. He ended
Tom
up,
Morello.
Yeah, he ended
Yeah.
up with new contract with Fender. They made his signature guitar, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's got to go out there and flaunt that again, hasn't he?
Okay.
So
Thank you.
plans on
Yeah.
hold.
Please,
It's
Rage.
gotta be.
Please.
Amazing band.
Yeah.
Amazing band.
Yeah. Right.
Probably one of my favourite live acts, if I'm honest.
Oh, all right. Don't rub it in.
Yeah, they're best live as well.
Yeah, they're really good. Really good.
You can listen to
yeah.
them as much as you want at home, but it's
Yeah?
not the same.
Yeah, you wouldn't
Yeah.
know.
But they probably won't play again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pantera pretty fucking amazing live.
Oh,
Gotta
I
say
bet.
that. Yeah. I partied with Dimebag
Seriously.
twice.
Oh man.
Well, all of them. We fucked up the dressing room in Wolverhampton's Civic Hall.
Good grief.
And drunk with them, and
Nice.
and even like the sound tech Cat, who also got killed. Like he was like, "Have a shot of Jet." Fucking amazing. And you know, I grew up watching the Volga videos, you know, and you know, you watch things. If there's any band to party with, it's Pantera. And
Oh
so
yeah.
life goal accomplished.
Mate.
So yeah, fuck you with your rage. Anyway, how do you find balance between paying rent and playing music, which I think every musician struggles with?
Go to work.
Yeah. Yeah, just work really fucking hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just, I don't know, channel that miserable energy into playing and singing.
Yeah.
That's how it goes for me.
Yeah.
You know, I've always struggled with money, but I've never struggled to support the band. So,
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a great answer.
thanks, man.
Nice. Do you all agree?
I enjoy. I'm lucky to work with a great team at work. So
What do you do, if you don't mind?
I manage a wine shop. Which is an occupational hazard, mate. It's an occupational hazard.
Yeah.
But before that, I did. Used to travel around the country with assessing standards of service and reporting back to those individuals face to face. So I've spoken to thousands of people in my previous job to that. But then after having a little one and whatnot, it was a case of
Oh, fantastic.
being made redundant
Okay,
and then
sorry,
finding
yeah.
a job. But the things, I think you get to junctions in life like that and it happens for a reason. Now, if I hadn't have been redundant, I wouldn't have got into the job that I'm working in today and be working with a fantastic team. And in addition to that, I get to see my family rather than rush home or spend days and evenings or weeks away from work, from home. So,
That's
it all
great.
happens for a reason.
It's true.
But,
And you know, great business to be in right now, because goddamn, everyone needs wine right now,
Everybody
don't
needs
they?
wine. We're essential.
Wine, beer.
You're lucky that I'm not wearing top instead of like all this other sponsorship at the moment.
Yeah, monster.
I'm quite fortunate at the moment. I'm working from home. Fortunately, I
How
work
many
from
times are you
home.
going to tell us, Jesus? Want to get quiet?
Where do you work?
No,
Where? Brighton and what?
I give up. I give up.
I work from home,
Yeah.
At Brighton.
talking to ladies about lights.
Theo, is it a good balance for you?
I work doing mastering and mixing and
Holy-
bass sessions
That's
entirely.
fucking
It's
awesome.
alright for some. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Cool.
Pretty much. Well, just anything in general, really, that's like mixing
Yeah.
or audio book mastering. I do cover design as well, books.
Artwork.
Yeah, but kind
Yeah?
of crappily, but
So
I do that.
you're an artist as well?
An artist, yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
a little bit.
illustration, like what
Not,
kind of
I
stuff?
used to do that more, but it's kind of, my computer blew up because I had a Mac and it blew up. And I just did live shows playing bass for like a good few years and didn't do any production or anything. And then a friend's dad gave me a PC a couple years back, and I've just been doing mixing, mastering, and all
Wow.
that stuff on it. So
That's great.
yeah. The only thing that I don't really do is play guitar. Yeah, here I am.
You're playing more keyboards now, though.
Playing more, yeah. I play.
that's good.
My main instrument's bass, but more than that, I do mixing and mastering.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing that I ever really actually play at home is keyboard, really. Just messing
Wow.
around. So,
And you're fucking good at that as well.
Yeah.
well. don't know about that.
It's,
You are. You are.
do you say that one of your influences is like Dave Gilmour and Pink Floyd a little bit with guitar
Not
playing, or
Not
I
so
get that
much,
wrong?
really. I mean, it's kind of all over the show, really. I mean, I haven't
Yeah.
listened to guitar music at all for like. I mean, I used to play guitar as my main thing. Like, what was it 5 years ago? or
5
something?
years ago, you couldn't put it down.
And then after that, I never played guitar at all. Only bass. So I was getting into like Jacko and stuff, and
yeah.
Pino and all that. But
You tend to. I don't know whether you tell me if I'm wrong. You get to the point where you're like, I've done it now, and then you move on to something else
Yeah.
pretty fast.
I think my
you change
brain gets-
guitars
yeah,
quite often.
I was obsessed with like metal for a while. Then I was like obsessed with blues or something, and then it's
Yeah.
like jazz, and then
Now it's funk.
Now you're messing
No,
around with
no,
like
it's nothing.
electronic music and stuff
doing all
like that.
kinds of orchestral stuff, and
Yeah.
the old Hans Zimmer classics. And all that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just talking to this guy in the shop about the Interstellar soundtrack.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
It'd be cool to do it like a film music someday, like as a band.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's been I'm sure there's been a few bands that have done that.
9 Inch Nails.
Mm.
Well,
Done
of
it.
course, the greatest band of all time.
Did they do like the last track in was it 9 Inch Nails? I think it might have been Rick and Morty, the last episode in first season.
I don't know about that, but I know they
I
did the
don't know.
music
Or was it
for.
someone else?
They did some of the music for The Social Network.
They got an Oscar for the Social
Yeah,
Network,
they did, yeah.
The first score they did
So
for David Fincher,
Yeah.
and he's just released his new film on Netflix today, Mank,
Mm.
which is about Orson Welles or something, and they used only the instruments that were available at the time when the film was set. So I'm interested in.
Oh, that's intriguing.
Yeah.
I'll watch that.
Yeah. Quick fire question: what was the last song you listened to?
White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane.
Fantastic tune. Jamie.
It's gonna sound stupid. Beep beep, I'm a sheep.
Is that some infant
No,
song or something?
Yes.
Yeah. No,
count
proper
on
one.
the car?
I would
That's why
say.
I was just wondering that. Do we count what we heard on the car here, or what we
Anything
actually
you
listened to last?
Oh, right, yeah, it's anything you listen to.
The last thing I listened to was. What did we listen to in the car? Yeah,
I can't remember the artist.
Christmas
It
song.
was a Christmas song.
Actually,
that doesn't
no.
need to
I
count.
tell a lie about Beep Beep, I'm a sheep. Fairy Tale of New York, the last
Yeah.
one I heard.
Oh, another Christmas song.
Absolutely, and they shouldn't have changed the lyrics in my honest opinion. There you go.
5 favourite bands, musicians.
The
Oh,
war
you know
on
what? 3.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
the war on drugs.
Yeah.
Great band.
The Yardbirds
Yeah.
and Nick Cave.
Nice.
Yeah.
For me, Blondie. I'm gonna say the Kinks because I did grow up listening to them, and Fate and the other. Ooh.
And this is like right now, not of all time,
Yeah.
because like
Oh, right
tastes
now.
always change.
Like yeah, exactly. That's the trouble. I mean, I'd say I always like John Mayer,
Yeah.
like no matter what, pretty much, and Robert Plant, but like as in the album, like the Robert Plant and Alison Krauss Raising Sand album,
That's a great album.
and Nora Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like Robert Plant's last album? Was it Catching Fire?
Yes,
Yeah.
I love.
Amazing.
It's
It's
such
really
a vibe,
good.
isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
Yeah, that real folky kind of.
It's very
Warm.
percussive as well.
Yeah.
sort of,
Different instruments as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Me?
Rammstein.
You wish. They're great. Don't
Too
get me
hard.
wrong. I mean, they're
Surprised.
great. Probably Jeff Buckley, Burt Bacharach, because he's just an absolute legend
Yeah.
in every way, shape or form. The man's created so much stuff. Jimmy Page for his creativity. Who else? Love Pink Floyd.
Yes.
Each individual one of them has got something to bring to the table. It's a dangerous combination
Yeah.
for a band.
I love Division Bell, you know, which is nothing to do with the bassist. What's his name?
Roger Waters.
Roger Waters. Yeah, but you know, like same time of Wish You Were Here is one of my favourite albums. Yeah, it's
And
so
then
amazing.
finally, Fleetwood Mac.
Yes, great choices.
Massive.
Yeah,
I love Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
Seen it.
Like old to like, I don't know, Tango in the Night sort of stuff.
The
Yeah.
Rumours is a great album.
Rumours is a great album, but their stuff before that,
That is
Peter Green, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
that stuff is.
Oh yeah.
They wouldn't be those albums if it weren't for the likes of Peter Green. They were
I
such
had
a
a
progressive
Peter Green
band.
Les Paul, so for a good time.
yeah.
Vintage Peter Green Les Paul, yeah.
What are some of the big challenges of being a musician?
Finding the time to practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say get yourself out there and listen.
Get support.
Get support, yeah.
Get support. It's really easy to be ignored if you're simply an independent nobody. It's really easy for people to just be like, yeah, okay, I'll listen to it later.
Yeah.
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 But, you know, I say that we are getting quite overwhelming support at the moment.
As you should,
Which
yeah.
we weren't 2 years ago, but we are starting to.
Good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, really grateful for
Yeah.
that. Just saying that. But yeah, no.
We love our fans.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, I mean, it's so important to engage with everyone, and if they've taken the time to listen to you and appreciate you,
Yeah.
and then it's, you know, like the journey started, keep it going.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'd say that's an advantage with social media that you didn't have before. You know, big bands would make it, put out an album, or even not so big bands, and then it's like, well, not many people are at their shows, so how can they get that kind of conversation started?
It's just a completely different industry now. I mean, the likes of, like, I don't know, old bands, and I think it was Cliff Richard was saying this the other day, on the weekend, during an interview, that it's a completely different industry in the sense that you'd knock out an album and you'd have a record deal, and then you'd have because of that record deal, you'd end up making another album, and then you continuously make albums. Now, it's like you're chucking frisbees the same as everybody else.
Yeah.
There's my music.
Yeah.
Everybody else says, there's my music, and you just wait for somebody to catch that, and then there's no continuation now.
Yeah.
No.
I think it's because there's the amount of music that people want to produce to get themselves listened to out there, and the fact that there's streaming services, downloads, and
there's massive demand.
massive demand everywhere, and so much demand being piled on people. It's very easy to get lost in a crowd, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically just too much of the same thing.
So
So
it's knowing what the right thing to do in order to kind of separate yourself from everybody else.
Yeah.
Knowing-
exactly.
Because you can do that with your music, you can do that with your lyric writing, you can do all that, but it doesn't mean to say that anybody's going to fucking hear it.
It's a matter of finding the balance of what the public would like, and in a sense also what the
Yeah.
music industry would like.
Exactly. I mean, bands are not, bands were made and were established way before the age of social media. You know, they're just there to entertain people live, and to sort of to take people's energy and amplify it, times 10, they're not meant to social media. The same effect is not meant to happen. The same emotional effect is not meant to happen via social media. It can't.
Yeah.
So it's very rare you see that someone gets away with a live broadcast that changes their life forever, or changes the life of their followers forever. I mean, yeah, sure, it's make the music available to as many people as you want.
Yeah.
But personally, I think you sort of, I don't want to say sell, but you lose a part of your musical dignity when you're a band, when you emphasize on social media. I think social media is good, but it's not necessarily fantastic.
No, but you look at like the likes of the
thoughts.
Levelers or something like that. They're a perfect model
Exactly.
of what a band is all about. I mean, you've got great music, great writers, great characters, and not only that, they've got a great following that they've built up over the years. They've been some fantastic venues. I mean, the moment they played Glastonbury, that was it for them. They'd hit it, and then they're still on the road every single year.
Yeah.
Doing different things, whether it's showing like like doing a cinema showing of like a documentary, and then playing acoustic after to playing live venues and stuff, and they're constantly churning over merchandise, and you've got to go to these places in order to buy it. Yeah, they've got stuff on their website. But
Exactly.
if you go to these venues, you get the content that
Exactly.
you can't get anywhere else, and I think that's what bands have got to do now, and they really kind of got to be artistic every single time.
Yeah. Exactly.
And make it unique and something special, because I mean, they play the same songs, they release a brand new album or a few new songs, but people want to hear the classics, but they also want to see the new artwork, they want to see the new t-shirts, they want to see the additional content like CDs and the limited edition records that you can get, and every time I go there I friggin' suck it into it, and I love it.
Absolutely, because you feel like you're buying part of the band, something that you love, and you're supporting it, and you get to wear it.
You get to
part
be
of
there.
it. Exactly.
That's exactly what I was saying. And exactly.
And then you get a fight of like the number one fan or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
You get what?
Like you get a fight amongst fans of saying, "Oh, I'm the number one fan."
It's
of
a
that
cult
particular
though.
band.
Being a Levelers fan,
It's like a culture, so the greatest bands, greatest artists, throughout history, they didn't just create a live album. Louis is exactly right. They created a culture.
Yeah.
You know, and once you're part of that culture, you know, I remember the first time I heard Zeppelin, I was like, man, I just want to listen to Zeppelin and do everything Zeppelin way.
Yeah.
The whole, you know, I
Yeah.
was just completely taken by that, and till this day, I'm not bothered about what Led Zeppelin's doing on social media. Like,
Yeah.
what I do want is the original vinyls that I like to collect, like, eventually,
Absolutely.
and that's not part of the whole social media thing.
Jimmy Page is pretty good at sorting all that out.
Yeah. He
That's
actually
what
came out
Jimmy's-
recently and said bands have to perform live. Like, it is quite unacceptable to force them into, you know, sort of, you know,
Yeah.
virtual gigs and things like that. The bands are alive. We are
Yeah.
live elements. You know, we are live
Well,
beings.
Jimmy
we're not-
Page found Raw Blood. If it hadn't been for that and his sort of kind of support there, they
Exactly.
wouldn't have been as big as what they are.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Like this, we're in a weird place with virtual gigs, with you know, how they play there at the venue in their studio and how we listen to it are two different things. It's kind of like social media and how you write a statement and then how someone else reads it, completely miscommunicated.
Yeah.
And how a band is performing, and then how you listen to it through a fucking laptop speakers. It's really degrading
Yeah.
for the experience.
The thing is, and I'll add to what you just said. The industry is now looking at social media value, and then they're saying that band or that artist is investable. You know, if you don't have like 1 million followers,
Yeah.
if you don't have a, you know, on
But
whatever,
surely
like,
they
really,
understand
yeah.
that that can be just like utter bullshit. Because
Yeah.
there's so many platforms that people destroy. And I mean, that's what I was going back to what Cliff Richard was saying. is that,
Go, Cliff.
Go on, Cliff. The fact is that you can have all these followers, you can have that album, get that platform. It doesn't mean to say that you're going to be a continuation.
Absolutely.
I think it's
Somebody
because
else
the
after.
market has gone digital, like globally.
Yeah.
They take that as well. Just like, yeah, you know, you sold out like 10 events in the last year, but you only have like 500,000 followers on Instagram, so we're not sure about marketing, paying, you know, this campaign or whatever. So we're not sure about giving you a deal. or
Yeah.
It's
whatever.
only the
So
select
yeah.
few that get that continuation at the end of the
Yeah.
day, like big.
And you have to
pop
be, you have to
artists.
tick like every box in the list. You know, you have to look a certain way, you have to speak a certain way, you have to wear certain brands. You know, like
Like Monster.
yeah, you're pretty much a product. You're like a circus act. You're
Yeah.
not really a band. By the time you get all of that, you're
commercial,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah, exactly. You're an advertisement, and there's a big fat expiration date on you as well. Because as soon as you're out of trend, that's it. You know, that's it. You're gone. You have to bring on the next act. You know, it's yeah.
That's why
I
it's
think-
so important to be
yeah.
catchy straight away.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
As fast
yeah.
as.
We're just hoping to be a continuation. That's what it is.
I'd say it's important to
Sorry, man.
just be true to your music.
Yeah.
Because the trends, all this shit going on around the
Yeah.
world, it's forever changing. So as long as you're doing what you always have done, what inspires you naturally,
Yeah.
without trying to be influenced by social media, which is so tough, then those trends will come back round.
Yeah.
And there will be an appropriate time. But unfortunately, it's a big part of unknowing, isn't it? Like, oh, well, you know, no one's taking notice, and it can be really tough to keep motivated about all these things. Did you always know you wanted to do this full time?
Yes,
Yeah?
yes, definitely.
Absolutely.
Louis?
Yes.
Well, I
Yeah,
used to want
but-
to be a drug dealer.
I dabble with doing two many things. And
EDM.
no, it's like you said about like having the balance between work and doing the band stuff. And I think at one stage I turned around. What's the hardest thing? Trying to find the time to practice, as well as doing like my hobbies with like the guitars and stuff like that. It's a bit nails. But yeah, everything's a full-time commitment if you want it in your life. So
Well said. Yeah, totally agree.
100%.
Cool. That was a nice, quick question, wasn't it? What are you working on right now?
So I'm working on 3 new songs.
Great.
And Theo is working very closely with me on one of them. It's called Fly Away. The good thing about this one is everybody gets to write their own part equally.
That's
Which is a bit different
Nice.
from like what we're used to.
The bad thing about it is my computer's CPU can't handle all of Bruce's fucking guitar tracks on it.
Yeah,
How
yeah,
many?
a lot. Yeah.
I'll try and play it. It's just like.
15.
12.
No,
No.
Well,
I don't even have 12 guitarists in the band. Why are you creating shit you can't fucking make again?
How many are you gonna hire?
I don't know, an orchestra if I have to.
Orchestra guitars.
don't worry, there's only 500 multi-tracks on this.
Yeah, screw you, Van Halen.
Yeah, don't worry, I'll mix it for free, mate. Don't worry.
Did you hear about that story recently about Van Halen, about how he played some parts because when they recorded the album, they layered like his different solos over the top.
Oh, wow.
And then he was like, yeah, that is the best one, but I don't know how the fuck I'm going to play that live. So, yeah.
Unbelievable. Mind you, Stairway to Heaven, I mean, when they created that, he didn't originally play it with a double neck guitar, did
No, he
he?
didn't know. He had to use one for
He had
live,
to use
yeah.
one to bring it together live.
Yeah, we'll probably end up in that list at some point.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
What, 12 pog pedals and a double neck guitar?
Yeah,
It's
he's
the only
got to
way.
phone up TC Electronics just be like, help!
When we get back to normality, what do you hope to achieve?
Well, to put it in numbers, I want to book exactly like something between 20 to 30 shows for the band. Yeah.
In the space of a year?
In the
or-
space of a year.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
A lot of them are.
Yeah, so London, South, Bristol,
Yeah.
Reading, yeah.
Do a UK tour. Fuck
Um,
it, go to Scotland.
Yeah, well, could do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the boys are up for it, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So.
I'll drive the van.
Oh, thanks.
You gotta come
Saves me
along.
driving.
You gotta come along.
Exactly.
You're the only one qualified to document the whole thing, I think.
Sweet. Nice.
Fucking road trip, man.
Saves me driving.
Yeah.
We need to get a van,
We'll bring
shagging
them-
wagon.
We'll bring a majestic
Shit,
van,
this is like, yeah, majestic. You imagine that?
fucking full of wine.
Oh, dear me.
Yeah.
Do you prefer playing alone or in a band?
I look forward to rehearsals every week. It's the
Yeah.
highlight of my week every week.
Nice.
But when it comes to the writing process, I have to be, on most occasions, alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's that is changing slightly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ever since, like especially with the 4 of us now, it's like I'd rather sort of play the idea, see what these guys do, and then see what the possibilities are.
The possibilities are endless with all of us, really.
Yeah,
Well, the
when
thing
we're
is,
together,
it's jamming as well. I mean, that's the thing that
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean,
Proper jam.
Jamie, you've probably played so structured with just learning what the songs are and being so structured with lessons that you, unlike say for example Theo and I, we've
With a
jammed
band,
with
it's a
different
jam.
freaking bands, whether it's like joining in at like an open mic night or
a gig.
band nights or gigs
Busking.
or
I get that
Busking.
feeling every time you
or
sort of do
just
them
like
warm-ups.
just jamming with other people and seeing what can come out of it. Sometimes you can just hit a brick wall and like nothing comes out of it. It's just,
Yeah.
or you just do a cover of something and it just leads on to something else. We've had some cracking jams of mine that Rob recorded, didn't he? That one was absolutely stonking,
I know what you
and
mean,
it just comes out of nowhere. But that's how you get fluidity
Or that one in
with
Guildford, with that rapper.
Oh
guy we met.
man, that just come out of nowhere. And
Reese
some of the best
something,
times, they just come out of jamming. But
Yeah.
you got to have practiced that with other people.
You have to practice not practicing.
This is it.
Then
You've got
it
to
comes
have-
naturally
Yeah,
to
pretty
you.
much.
if you don't
Yeah.
do
I
it,
guess
then
so,
nothing
yeah.
magic happens, and you probably find that I mean, like one of my favourite documentaries, like chucking like The Edge and Jack White and fucking Jimmy
It
Page.
might get
into-
loud.
It might
Yeah,
get loud.
yeah,
Chucking
that
them
is
into the
great.
room and going, well, what's going to happen when you've got 3 like complete different musicians or artists in their own right that have created different music? What the hell's going to come out of it? And yet, like the last song that they play is like they would just go back to root guitar and they're just playing one track together, and there's nothing funny about it. It's just solid music, and then playing a song. But then there's them jamming each other's songs, and then something else comes out, and they all know what they're doing. There's no bum notes going on or anything like that.
Exactly.
It's a jamming somebody's song.
Exactly.
So I mean, some of the best times I've had with other musicians, like this one time in Wales, I'll show you the video of that at some stage. This guy was literally, his name was Johnny Gumball, and it was amazing. I'd never met the guy. Went up to like Pembroke, and we were at my best mate. His name was Tristan from university. We went all the way up there because he was getting married and moving across to America, and we're having this in the middle of freaking Wales somewhere, all camping, big freaking washing machine drum with like wood and fire going on everywhere. And then Johnny Gumball turns up with a friggin' egg shaker and like literally 2 sticks with like a rubber things that you used to play the fucking xylophone on. And he was there with this blooming blue plastic friggin' oil drum thing, just like tapping it as a bass drum. And he was there with a plate playing. It's absolutely mental. And they're playing Foo Fighters stuff.
That's a great story.
And
Yeah,
he got
come
such
from
a
anywhere.
good sound out of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, the jamming was just incredible. Some of the best times I've had over college, university, and onwards have been jamming with just different musicians.
Yeah,
You'd be surprised at how much you can learn from them as well.
absolutely.
Ridiculous.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
I guess it's important to, learn the neck of the guitar, for example, of that instrument, and so you know where to go in a jam situation. Like, I'm going to go here because I know that this note is going to work with that section that I know it's coming up. And so if you learn that basis, then it opens up your world to jamming.
Well, it's like the songs that you were playing earlier. I'd not really heard any of them apart from some of the earlier ones that you were playing. But does it, for well from playing
Where it's going to go.
because there's only so many different chord variations that work with it, and if you kind of go in your head, it's like it goes.
Thanks, I really enjoyed that.
And you only
Sometimes
get that from
goes,
doing it. So I've done all these high pressure gigs where I've just shown up, never hearing any of the set. There's like hundreds of people out front on stage with a band. They start playing a tune. It's like, well, you've just got to play it right, otherwise you're going to look like a cock. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you get so used to, and the only way you learn is by making yourself look like a cock. Do you know what I mean? There's going to be hundreds of times
Failing.
where you're playing a gig and like you
have
just
to
play
mess
the
up.
wrong chords,
Yeah.
you play the wrong scale. You know what I mean? And after a certain amount, like thousands of times
Yeah.
of doing that,
But once
every time you really mess up, because it's like so embarrassing, your brain is like, no, A minor pentatonic on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just know that
But
from
once
each
you come
one
through
there's,
like
you
a
know,
verse and a chorus, most of the time it's
the same thing.
exactly the same.
yeah.
So you just know instantly as long as you switched on the fast.
And if you
enough,
know
can
if you
pick
know
it
the
up.
song, then you're fine as well. If you
Yeah.
actually know how the song goes, but 9 times out of 10 you don't.
It's
so-
true. What's really funny is that I don't think that ever changes, because I photograph like big bands that download and stuff, and they come off stage. It's like, that was so fun, like such a great set, and they're beating themselves up. Like, no matter the level of the musician, like I really fucked up the solo and blah blah blah. And
Yeah,
you're
I
like,
didn't hear that.
what? No, look, everyone loved it. And
Seen the same
yeah,
thing.
David
well.
Gilmour's
Yeah.
done interviews like that where he's
Oh,
like
he
when
fucked
people
up,
have
yeah.
gone up to him and said, it's an absolutely amazing gig, and they'd be like, yeah, what the fuck do you know? And he's had that sort of moment. And I'm like going, right, okay, just seen a different side of that man.
You laugh about
It's like, well,
that,
what
but
the hell
that's
do you
always the
know?
way. I come off of a gig that I thought was amazing, and
Yeah.
everyone's like, then I do a gig that was absolutely shit. Like, we played, half the chorus in the wrong key.
Yeah.
It was just the worst gig you can imagine. You get off stage and like, whoa, fucking amazing, man. It's like,
Yeah, we've had that here.
do you know what I mean? It's almost like soul destroying, but it's also
It's
it's
that's
just the opposite
so
of what you would
interesting.
think. Like
Yeah.
all the time as well. If it's a good gig, everyone's like, yeah, it's alright.
Yeah,
The key
It's
is
like-
not making it obvious. That's the trick. That's the secret sauce. Right
Yeah.
there.
if you fuck up, don't go.
Don't, yeah. Just look at the drummer. If you fuck up, you're like,
That happens on a weekly basis. That happens
Only if
every week.
Only if I do make a mistake, I'll just be like, come back into time, if you know what I mean.
Jamie gets so much unnecessary heat. Like, it
Yeah.
just gets like...
Bruce plays the wrong chord.
You do that a lot.
Why did you play an E chord, Jamie, on that drum kit?
Is there any chord on the tom? I don't know.
It's not just that, it's making him to start again. Like, it's not like he's been using his entire body, you know. Like,
I saw.
I love you, man.
I went to this festival called
Sweet.
Heavy Fest. I think it's in Kent. A few years ago, and Milk Teeth were playing, and female-led band. They split up a few months ago, but at that time there was this guy, young guy, who was I can't remember if he was a guitarist or the main person in the band, but he had a tantrum on stage, and it was like something about the guitar wasn't tuned right, combination of that, and he the lead wasn't working, and he just smacked the guitar off the mic stand and then just threw it down, and he just looked like a 10-year-old having a tantrum.
I love those moments like Imagine if a drummer never
He loves those moments.
I'm going home. I just used
We've got a great story to tell you. We've got a great story to tell you. Louis, go.
It's on video, isn't it?
Oh, Jamie's like, no, let's move on.
No.
Next interview.
It was not embarrassing. It was just a bit annoying, really.
We've
Yeah, it was annoying.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
It was annoying, mate.
Annoying for me, annoying for you, annoying for everybody involved. Basically, I just forgot my hi-hat on the last
He
gig.
did, and yeah, so he turned up and he was like, Lewis, there's no hi-hat on here. I was like, well, the only option that you got is to literally go down to Soundhouse, which is a studio, and you can rent stuff. And I said, we've had this with one of the covers band that I was in before, and he goes shooting down there. All you got to do is ring them up, and they'll be more than happy to kind of rent them out to you. So he then goes walk it. I said, the way you find it's literally get in the car because you'll be there in 5 minutes. And then Adam, my best mate, turned around and said, I'll go with him. And they then start walking down the street, and I think that they've gone to the car. And I'm thinking, right, they'll have a spot of luck here. Hopefully they're back in time because we're on in 10 minutes time.
Oh, fucking
Anyway,
hell.
he comes back in 10 minutes. He goes, we couldn't find it. And I was like, well, where did you go? Well, we ended up walking down the high street. And I'm like, didn't you get in the car? It's 5 minutes away. So he then gets back and he's like, well, you got to go back there. No, I'll just play the snare drum instead. I was like, you can't do that.
You're like a hillbilly
It's
night
not
all
the
night.
fucking same guitar.
Yeah.
It's not the same sound, Robert. And he's like, right, I'm just going to play the snare. And it's like, I've had enough. I've had enough.
In his defense, we did a great show. Like,
So what ended up happening was he's got 3 cymbals, 2 of which are the same size. Now, me and Theo have already had this conversation prior to him like walking away for 10 minutes. Yeah. And we're like, well, worst case scenario, you can put those together.
2 cymbals into a
And
hi-hat,
use the clutch.
have a ride /
Initially,
cymbal.
I didn't think that
And
was a
then
good idea.
he gets back, has a tantrum, and then sits on his drum kit. I was like, well, you can put the 2 cymbals together. And he's like, well, I can't. And then he picks up the right cymbal and then puts it onto the hi-hat. And I'm like, no, mate.
2 cymbals.
No. If you start doing that, you've created something
All
brand
sorts
new,
of shit.
which may or may not
Is that the
work.
plan?
Yeah, I
And I
don't
was
know.
like,
just own it.
I think, yeah. Go on.
so
Yeah, it was a
basically, he then twigs onto what we're
Finally.
saying,
Yeah.
and then puts the 2
No, he was
cymbals
like,
together.
no, you can't just have one ride cymbal, you got to have a cymbal. And so, no, mate, you just hit the ride, and there's a cymbal, tap it
It
like
just
that,
sounds weird,
and it's
though.
alright. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. It's like, it sounds weird
And
just having
sure
a
enough-
crash as a rush.
Sure enough, it
he had a
sounded
working
great.
drum
Thank
kit.
you.
and
Yeah,
worked,
and it,
so
was,
it
and,
worked.
and it was a great show.
It was a great show. Yeah.
It was a
Awesome.
great show.
Good.
It was a great show in the end, but it just sounded weird. just
I
having
was
without some
worried
crashes.
this story was going in the direction of you just going home.
Yeah.
No,
no,
I thought it was
no,
going
It
to
was
go that way.
a happily ever after.
Yeah, it
He
was a great
absolutely
show.
rinsed him, the poor lad. But I mean, we've
Yeah.
got to push him to kind
Yeah.
of.
But that's not to. That's you know like it's not like
poor
it's
lad.
not like I
The
wouldn't
poor
push
lad.
any of them or they wouldn't push me. Like we all
Yeah.
push each other. Like there's sometimes there's a little bit of attention naturally as it is as a band. You know, because
Yeah.
it's like a family. You know, it's like
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
But we one thing I love about us is that you know we do push each other, we do criticize each other, but we don't. No one takes it personally. You know,
Yeah.
it's part of the job. It's part of the fucking. The whole
Well, you
thing.
might not have felt like at the time, but they were all supporting you to kind of like get it all.
Oh no
done.
I
Yeah.
completely understand about the whole
Yeah.
support thing. At the end of the day, as
Yeah.
as we've said, we're all family. We may
Yeah.
all be individuals, but we're all part of the same family and
Yeah.
part of
Like
the same.
families, we learn our lessons and
Exactly.
we never do them again.
I will never forget my hi hats in a
Yeah,
hurry.
yeah.
That is for sure.
Yeah.
I tell you what, though, I mean, to equalize with you, there was one time that I thought I was, I had it all figured out, and I was ready, and everything was connected and plugged in, apart from the most important thing, which was the guitar. and then, yeah, and then we
nothing.
went
Yeah.
for it. The band started. It was sounding all right, and then I kind of noticed, like like my sound is like my vocals is a bit off. You know, maybe it's me, whatever. And then I realized that the guitar is not there.
Okay.
You know, if you want a beer, you want to have a beer?
Oh, I'm alright, thank you. I'm driving. I'm driving you home.
Just one beer.
I drive you home.
With
Yeah,
me.
grab us a beer.
I ain't grabbing you a beer. I've just fucking gone to the beer hole place.
Thank you.
What the fuck?
Hey.
Yes.
Don't see that. Oh my no! No, there's a.
Say twist or bottle.
No, they don't twist. Louis has
got
I'm on it.
He's a motherfucker.
You can tell he's a seasoned alcoholic.
It's a season.
It's on
Hey.
film. Oh, you it's on film. Me looking like a twat gang.
Right.
Oh,
I have already done. Oh.
shit!
I
I don't want to lose any
Louis,
teeth.
yeah.
Neither do you, mate.
I think you hit him in it.
Cheers.
Cheers. I will cheers you. No, there's electricity.
Electricity and spiders.
Oh shit.
Where were we?
No.
Talk about beer.
Alright, mate. Alright, mate.
Fire away. Adam.
Set fire to you.
If you could go back in time and give 10-year-olds, all of you, advice to yourself,
Question.
what would it be?
Great question.
I would tell me that be patient, be a lot more patient, and sometimes things are not as bad as they are.
Yeah,
I would tell myself that strongly.
great
Yeah.
advice.
Yeah.
Come back to me on that.
Probably say like something like McDonald's is great, but once a week is probably not advisable.
Once a week, that's not loads.
No, it is when you go 2 to 3 times a week.
Well, that's not
It's like rehearsals is a bad thing. McDonald's is
Do you want to
just
go
around the
McDonald's
corner.
after this?
No, I'll come back with a serious answer, but yeah, that
Yeah.
would probably be like, yeah.
Damn, I wish I started with a not so serious.
Yeah, I know, it's pretty
That's a
fucking
good
deep,
answer.
to be honest.
to be fair, I think a lot of us at 10 would be like
10 or 10 years ago.
10.
at 10.
At
Yeah.
10,
10.
yeah.
Holy shit.
Exactly. We wouldn't have a clue what to say.
I
I'd be
would
like,
think.
but
would
if
my
you
10-year-old
travel
self
back in
actually
time-
take me
Ooh.
seriously at that point?
If
you went, if you travel back in time,
What
with,
are you
like,
on about, mate?
advice of like,
Well, if I was 10 and I would advise myself as I was currently now, I'd be like, don't worry. Just
Do it all differently.
Do it all differently. Have no regrets in life, no matter what you do, no matter what everybody else
You
does.
have regrets?
No, I have no regrets.
Yeah,
That's the
exactly.
thing.
Why would you tell me?
I'm just saying, like,
I think
would
you've got one regret. No.
name it. Name it.
When you get to this age and you go to a gig in Worthing,
Don't forget your hi hat. No, I mean, like, because younger, I was full of emotions, if I'm honest with you, but especially during school. And I'll just tell my elder self, I'm glad you stopped having those emotions. I'm glad you will not have any further regrets going back on life.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
Nice. Theo?
Well,
stick with one
In it.
instrument.
yeah. Well, there's
I mean,
something to be said with that, but
Would you?
yeah, this is
Because,
it.
I mean, you've enjoyed all the instruments you've picked up, right?
I mean, in some ways, you think if you stick to one thing, you become much better at just the one thing. But I think there's something good about being able to do a bit of everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I'd probably just tell myself not to be such a cock. Because there's definitely many moments where I acted like a right cock when I was younger. So
I don't know, man. I
Really?
that's the,
and I'm just being totally honest with you guys. I've never ever seen you guys as that.
as a cock.
Yeah.
Well, no, I wasn't a cock, but do you only do like things that you say things that are like just embarrassing or stupid? or
That out of the
something?
blue moments.
Yeah, like when you're young.
moments.
You know, when you're young, you just.
No, we will do that anyway.
Yeah.
But at the same
I
time, if you
don't know.
don't do things like that, then
That's an interesting one. I mean, the,
Yeah.
the McDonald's situation. Yeah. I don't know. I'd probably say take a baseball bat to school and fucking knock out every single
that's
one.
true. Yeah,
One of the dickheads that you come across because they're still teethless now, anyway.
Absolutely.
And you need to be responsible for that. You know?
At the end of the day, in terms of I'm assuming you're talking about bullies and stuff like that, or people just who just end up
Don't
being
talk
dickheads.
about my bullies in the past. No, I'm just talking about any cunt from Wiltshire.
Yeah.
Wiltshire cunt.
Yeah, Wiltshire Bron, Wiltshire bred.
Just any-
own fucking head.
Just
Right,
anyone
right,
you
okay,
meet in
baseball
life,
bat.
just realise
Oh,
that you end up better than where they are.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I wouldn't go that far.
I don't know. I like to think that as well.
I like to think At the end of the day, the majority of those who end
I'm
up being
sure they've learnt their lessons and looked back at
Yeah.
their past and thought, I shouldn't have been such a cunt. Well, where's my apology, you piece of shit?
Look in the mirror and go, I'm a cunt. Well, I'm not that much.
No, I'm not
No.
that cunt.
Cunty.
you may act like a cunt, but don't regret being a cunt.
What's the contrast of Planet for Sale and the current environment?
So,
We've talked about this a few times.
yeah. So Rhino, which is the most recent release, speaks pretty heavily on isolation,
Yeah.
and but at the same time, it uses an animal that is facing extinction to create that contrast.
Nice.
And the song talks about loneliness, talks about not feeling yourself, losing, your nobody noticed me, nobody pleases me, I'm just a rhino without a horn. It puts that bleeding animal in that situation next to someone who feels isolated from the society, and it puts the two worlds together, but obviously with a fun tone.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's not just a fun tone; it's a realistic tone, isn't it? So
it
you're
is.
putting those two images together, aren't you?
Yeah.
Not getting paid, not getting laid. Well,
Exactly.
you're not going to get paid. You're not going to go out
Yeah.
and meet other people. You're not going to meet out and do fun things.
Yeah.
Just be isolated.
Yeah.
That's what I get anyway. But could be wrong.
I think that isolation speaks about the whole situation we're in at the moment. In terms
Yeah.
of
Absolutely.
Because we've
COVID.
kind of sort of isolated the environment as well in a way. We're not paying as much attention to the environment the way we should be. Because if we are planning to go back to new normal, whatever that might be, so we need to not forget the environment. We need to not forget things like global warming, and so it doesn't. The problems do not end with a vaccine or whatever it is.
God, no.
Yeah, like this is an ongoing fight.
vaccines isn't the be all and end all. At the
Let's
end
not
of
get
the
into
day.
that.
No.
I feel like I want to say this before I forget. Like everyone's suffering alone,
Yeah.
but together.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we're all.
Well, that's the
we're
thing
all,
I'm constantly
we've got that
reminding
thing in
everybody
common.
on a day-to-day basis is that we're all out there to look out for each other.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of anger and stuff like that, and everybody going through stuff. And I mean, I talk to people on a day-to-day basis. Of course, we're in my job, and a lot of people are on the same sort of page.
Absolutely.
And or it's just a simple thing like getting people to put stuff on their hands before they fucking go around the shop and do stuff. It's like, you're looking out for people on a day-to-day basis. It's like, yeah, I know, I saw you do your hands before. You touched the door handle. And I, as much as I'd like to during peak trade, going up to Christmas, polish the door every time somebody touches it, I can't. So
Can you just
I'm looking out for your best interest, and I'm looking out for you and the people that you go back to as well. It's not that I'm enforcing rules upon you.
Yeah, and the more people
I don't want to be responsible
spend
for
time
you
on their own, the more that they are delicate and sensitive to that and react to that.
Well, I talk to people on a day-to-day basis on the phone as well. People that are isolated at home.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll sell alcohol for fuck's sake. So I mean, it's not that they're alkies or anything like that. That might be their only phone call that they get during the day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even in my old role like that, you have to think outwards a little bit more in the sense of everybody's circumstances. Nobody's angry for a reason. Nobody's angry for no reason, rather. And they're not aggressive towards you just because they're an absolute dick. There's something, a root cause. And I had a situation the other day where somebody was really aggressive towards me, whereas I hadn't done anything wrong. They were just piping out, and then they were upset at the end of the journey. I was like, what have I possibly done today to make you so angry?
Yeah.
Then they were really, really upset at the end of it. It's like properly reaching out. It's like, people don't get that sort of attention sometimes, and that tends to upset them and have a little bit of an outlay. So we were out to look out for each other.
Yeah.
If you don't do that, then you're not a human. As far as I'm concerned.
I think
that's why there's wars.
That's what's more common now.
Yeah, we've got a verse in the end of Dream. You know, like they dress them and give them a gun. They fight for them while they run, and you know that's it ties directly to what Louis is saying. You know, it's nobody's angry for a reason. You know, it's these angers, these feelings of loneliness. You know, it leads to not just things happening on a basic level, but things happening at a level so complicated that you know it goes from truth to a conspiracy. And it's like an illusion. It's like a dream. It's hard to look at. It's hard to accept. People don't want to think about it. And when you mention it, they tune out. So is it something to sing about? Damn right. You know, it's
absolutely.
So that's I would say how Planet for Sale creates the contrast and reflects on everything, not just the environment, but the whole everything around that.
Yeah, that's great, because hearing from so many artists, musicians, that right now so many musicians just are not feeling inspired.
No,
because
not.
there's no end game. We just don't know. We're perpetually free falling.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Exactly.
But then out of that sometimes, I mean, out of like being isolated in seclusion and everything like that, you can get some magic come out of it.
Yeah.
You get some magic moments of people being
can
together.
prevail in those sort of circumstances. I mean, it's not like we're in a frigging prison cell or anything.
No, but a lot of people do feel like they are.
Yeah.
You know, that's we're having to conform to these rules. You can't see family. You can't see your friends. Just stay in and watch that box that keeps filling you with fear. Sorry.
Honestly, it's the truth. That's the poetic stuff that needs to be talked about. Like,
it's the truth, isn't it?
Yeah. All jokes aside, it's like, you know, we believe these things to be real conversation.
This is a question for you, Reese.
Okay.
If that's all right.
That's fine.
Do you feel, coming from Iran, where when you were 10 and being in a UK band is working to your advantage, or has it thrown some hurdles in your path?
I still do feel like an outsider, even though that no one in this group has ever made me feel like an outsider. But you know, the curse if we say to walking down the roads and not being able to match in every way to the surrounding and around you and the people around you and the thoughts that you can't help but to feel and think that there is something about me that is not enough, or there's something about me that doesn't match 100%ly. That's naturally and without trying to offend anybody, that's something that naturally happens when you're outside your home territory. And I think and every day I'm quite grateful to have these guys as my brothers in music and creativity, and because I know a lot of other Iranians, even musicians or non-musicians, that they don't have that chance, or I know a lot of other people who are from the outside and they're very creative and they can do a lot, but they're never given the platform. And for someone who's coming from a radical country that it's so closed from the outside world, I think
I
it's
don't see
it's
any
a
of that
beautiful
though,
thing.
Reece. I don't see any of that, and maybe there needs to be more people like me.
I really hope
If
so.
only,
I really hope there's more people like you, because, like I said, you've never made me feel like an outsider. I always felt the one. When I'm in a room with you and Theo and Jamie, I've never felt like I need to be more than who I am as a person. Like I'm an equal.
Don't take this wrong. I don't give a shit about any of the other stuff that the history and the past side of things, because I just see you.
Yeah, and that's what I'm
and
saying.
I'm not. I don't say that.
Yeah.
I don't say that in an offensive way.
No,
I just don't.
Yeah.
Don't take it right. I don't need or want to understand it, because I just see you.
No, but you don't need to understand it. Yeah, exactly. And because you just see me, and that's
perfect.
That's
right?
perfect. That's exactly what
regardless of where you came
exactly,
from.
regardless
We
of where
see
I
you
come from.
as a cock.
I was waiting for you to say
But yeah, no. Has it made me a better person? The struggle and also the acceptance. Yes, both of them has.
Yeah.
To conclude everything. Yeah.
Sweet and sour.
Yeah. But I say it again. I hope there are, and I'm just getting emotional just saying this, but I hope there are more people like these guys, because it's like this dream family, this dream community, that no one's that I think like sort of every single foreigner and outsider sort of feels, but I'm very grateful, and I belong in this room with these guys. This is where I belong.
It's where you can be yourself and be true to yourself.
Yeah.
Sex dungeon, But it's where you can be. It's where you can be true about yourself, be yourself in all its truest form. You know what I mean? Absolutely.
Sorry.
No, thank you for that question. I
That's
appreciate
all right. What's that?
I say I know what Ruse means about feeling never
outsider.
quite there, because I mean,
Yeah.
I was born in England, but then when I was 2, I lived in Australia for 3 years.
Yeah.
Then I came back to England, and then I lived in America for 6 months. Came back to England, lived in a different part of America for 3 years.
So you
Came
were
back.
never
So
allowed to establish
and I've
roots.
never been in I've been in schools for a year or two. Moved, I had all these best friends, left them behind.
That must be tough.
Never met them again. Made some new ones.
Yeah.
Left them. Do you know what I mean? But especially living in America for 3 years, it's there's definitely always a little bit of a.
It's difficult to set roots, isn't it? It's difficult to establish roots.
You kind of do, but then you just kind of gone.
Exactly.
You never see them again.
And it's very important who you hang out
1,000
with.
miles away all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and it's very important who you hang out with, who you communicate with, who you work with.
yeah,
Always.
so it is odd, isn't it?
Well, sometimes you don't even get a choice, do you? I mean, you just
No,
have to
no.
make the best of the situation.
Yeah,
don't you?
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's definitely weird, man.
I say it again, I'm very grateful, and I know I'm not perfect. I know I have my flaws, but these guys, I want to grow old with these guys. I want to do this for the rest of my life with these guys, and Theo, for example, the way he
multitasks, manages so many different things. To
Yeah.
me, that's inspiring.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Louis, you know, he's a father, he's a musician, he's got a musical background, that's inspiring.
Yeah.
Jamie is a man of the house, you know, he takes care of so much outside the band, that's inspiring.
Yeah.
So every time I feel low, or if I feel like I want to be ungrateful, I kind of think about them.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, just take a breath and get on with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
This is a moment.
this
I'm
exactly.
going to revel in this, and then, I'll remember how good I have it, because you have really close friends to share frustrations with.
Absolutely.
That I think that shows the strength of a band as well.
Yeah.
That it's not just music.
Yeah.
There's a bond here.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's also a strong emphasis on the lyrics in
Yes.
the band. Is
yeah.
that intentional?
Very intentional. Yeah.
It's part of the storytelling side of it all.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
And
It goes
I'm
with the
also,
music.
yeah, it goes
Yeah.
with the music perfectly.
Absolutely.
These guys get it, they follow it. Louis is now singing with us, which is
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
My favourite line from A Storyteller's Wish is the main chorus part. A storyteller's wish is an empty bowl of fish.
Yeah,
Interpret that as much as you want.
Yeah.
It's still a great line.
that's
Yeah.
that's
whatever your
Catchy.
thought of it is.
That's-
It's catchy.
Catchy.
yeah. And also, I think
Be busted and
to sort of to purposely try to trim things and make things very super simple and short.
Yeah.
And that's not cool. Like I see a lot of like rock and roll stars and whatever like do it these days. I'm like, yeah, that's not rock and roll. That's you want to sell this particular cheese, and then they've made you
Yeah.
write a song with it.
You want
Like
the aesthetics of rock with
Yeah.
the pop heart. And
Yeah,
that's
I
very
mean,
popular.
I was listening to Royal Blood, which is a great band. Louis loves them as well.
Love the first
Yeah,
album.
their
Oh,
lyrics
Yeah.
is as equally as good as their music,
Yeah.
and I think that
Short
pla-
change.
yeah,
That's
plays
what
a
just
huge
comes to my
part.
mind straight away. It's
Yeah,
great.
exactly, right?
Yeah, amazing. Another one,
Insane.
another example of new music like Black Keys. Not very new,
So
but
good.
still
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And if you go back to 70s music, which heavily inspired me to start writing the way I do, there is lyrics, verses are long.
Yeah.
Ain't no mountain high. It's like it keeps going
Yeah.
and going and going. It's like a confession, it's a whole story. So
Yeah.
and plus I'm an empath, so I get like really emotional. Like
Yeah.
I'm like,
And like,
and it's just right.
going back to Zeppelin, like, babe, I'm gonna leave you.
Oh,
Like,
there you go.
But the music matches the lyrics. It paints the
It's
picture.
so
It's
good,
the art.
but
It's
it's
the
like-
artwork. It all goes
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Well, it is an art form, isn't it? Music. It's just
Yeah.
a massive art form, which
Absolutely.
Bruce does brilliantly in terms of his songwriting.
Well, I used to do it by myself, but now we do it together,
Mhm.
and I fucking love it. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the right way.
to carry on talking about the lyrics, do you start with the lyrics or a riff? Is your starting place always in the same place? Do you have a set formula that works and you stick to it, or is it like open to interpretation?
Whatever we're comfortable with, really, isn't it, in terms of each
Random
song.
music, isn't it, already?
I think I the only song that was completely led by the words and words created the chords and the melody was Storyteller's Wish.
So by me sending lyrics over to you, I'm kind of encouraging that process.
You are. He sent me some really good lyrics recently on a song called Regretta, and it has been a joy working on that. It's
lovely.
such a good song.
Yeah.
It kind of question. It's like the. I don't know. It's like the Truman Show, but the song. It's really good. It is really good.
Yeah.
And I worked on the music and I extended the lyrics and everything. He wrote the foundation of the song, and he gave it to me. And I can't wait to. I really want to record it next year. I really
Fantastic.
do. It's a good song.
Nice.
It's a really good
It
song.
must be really empowering, like
I've
growing it and like the back and forth of that.
writing something that I've not done. I've done like creating music and stuff like that, and you can kind of imagine what the words could be after, or you could go through a library full of I don't know, songs like my mate's done, and he just writes stuff down all the time, and you go, what would work well with that piece of music, and then you can kind of go A and B and go, does that match? But I don't think it truly does most of the time. But I think
you can get some sort of sense of how the song's going to be. With the Fleetwood Mac song, it was a rote song, but the music, you'd never think that the music would have gone with the actual songwriting.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until my mate Ads turned around to me and said, you've really got to look into these songs in the way of what makes a music writer, a composer against lyrics, is those special parts where you don't follow the ordinary, or you write a piece of music and you go the opposite way. You flip it and go tails instead of heads, and go, right, I can listen to the music and part of the song, and as a singer-songwriter, I can then put those lyrics within that song in a way that you would never have put it together.
Yeah.
And it can be very, very clever. That's the golden moment with that, and that's why I said got Fleetwood Mac earlier, because there's some golden stuff. It's not just verse, chorus, lyrics, because it is very black and white. It is very structured, their music, but the clever thing is that the lyrics are not. They're very spontaneous. They don't follow a structure.
No, they don't.
And like Stevie Nicks, genius,
absolute genius.
Those lyrics,
Amazing.
lyrics to things. Just write out a whole structured bit of lyrics, which aren't like, because everybody tends to write like a fucking poem, and then it's just like all you're doing is reading that freaking poem against a structured song, which works. Don't get me wrong, but the special part is writing something out like a freaking story. And then going, put that story to a bit of music, then find the key parts to make the chorus if you want to go that way, and then you've got your catch, which is what we all look for, isn't it?
Absolutely.
One of my favourite.
We all look for a catch in a song.
Always.
Every
You just wait
single
for
song, I'd probably say
The hook.
99% of the shit that you listen to has got a catch in there, and there's a repeat, isn't there?
Yeah.
Probably my favourite of the catchiness of it was "Go Your Own Way," because in a sense it's an underlying song of basically, in no uncertain words, attempt to fuck off, which is what it is, and it's just brilliant in the way it tells you can go your own way.
That's the outer That's the outer message
Exactly.
of a tune, isn't it? That's the subconscious thing. You go, that's what this song's telling me. And I think you've got to look at some of the songs that we do, and there's been a few occasions today where you've all turned around and said, this is what this song subconsciously tells me. But those subconscious things are never in black and white or within the music. But that's the magic. You go on your own sort of Chinese whispers journey, isn't it? You make your own thing up and communicate what it means to you.
You just made me think of another question. Like, so when Ruse tells you what this song's about, does that make you feel more enthusiastic to do the song even more justice than before?
It influences you the way it's got to sound.
Yeah.
As well as like your previous playing background as well, and what you feel the song is trying to achieve. I think more so. I think for me, subconsciously, I probably play my instrument against the way that somebody else is singing it, and how I think it should sound. As
that
opposed,
way he gets to be himself when I give him material, which is the way it should be.
Yeah.
Because forcing a musician, especially a musician who's good, who knows what to do, if you don't give him creative freedom, you're basically taking that life element away. So if I was to tell Louis, that's the bass line, exactly that, and do that and nothing else, I wouldn't really be doing anything. I'll just be forcing him.
and I wouldn't be the right person to be doing it in the first place, because I'd end up just breaking the rules every 2 seconds.
Exactly. It's,
Fuck's sake, you bitch!
Where can people find your music and your socials?
Okay, just Google search or Bing search us, Planet for Sale Band or Planet for Sale Music, and you're in for a treat.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So Instagram, Planet for Sale.
Everything is at official Planet for Sale.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys have got a big gig tomorrow. First one during the second fucking lockdown bullshit.
Sold out, third gig in a row.
Amazing. Oh, that's going to really make you feel appreciated.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you're gonna be there because
Yeah, man.
yeah, because it's so
Definitely.
good to have you. You like the music. You know us. You know what we want.
I wouldn't be here if I didn't.
Yeah, no, thank you for
Yeah.
coming down
Thank
for
you.
the whole
Yeah, no,
weekend
thank
just to
you.
cover
Like,
this.
To be here during your practice is, oh, man, like I'm just gonna be honest. I've not been around live music probably since the same as you guys have, but you practice together, and just to be around music with depth that you fucking feel.
Thank you,
That's
man.
so good, and to hear the wall of sound that makes you feel alive.
Thank
Just even here, not without the gig, it's so fucking good and it's so important. Go to gigs.
Absolutely.
you.
Go
Absolutely.
to gigs. Make
Yeah.
music work. Go to gigs.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Okay,
man.
thank you for
It's been
having.
great.
Thank you for
for
being
I'm
here.
sorry if it's gone on too long, but
No,
just
it's been
love
great.
chatting to you all
It's
so
nice to be
much.
able to sit down and answer some questions together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's been a lot of fun.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks. Nice one.
Cheers.
Thank you. Nice one.
Yes, mate.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Wicked. Thanks,
Cool.
guys.
I gotta quickly do something.
Okay.
Eat a poo.
We know the truth, we know desire, but they always burn like irons in a fire. Thank you. I want to give a shout to